Welcome to Power in the Paperwork, brought to you by Lady International Ambassador. This is where we are going to go into quiet luxury and loud leverage. We're going to talk about building quiet, unstoppable wealth. Understand that luxury is quiet, but leverage speaks volumes. But what is luxury though? Like, we love the beautiful things. But true luxury isn't the bag, the car, or the trip. It's the peace of knowing your empire is protected. That power comes from the paperwork that most people overlook. Your first quiet luxury move is when you form the right business entity, whether that's an LLC, a corporation, or a trust. You draw a clean legal line between you and your business. First point of this is your personal protection, and it's your liability shield. If your company is sued, the judgment targets the business and not your personal savings, your home, or your other assets. Entities provide privacy. In some structures, your personal details stay discreet while your business is the public face. Quiet power is knowing your name is not tied to every deal. You don't always have to be in the front. Second point we're going to make is professional credibility. Entities provide a signal of seriousness. Vendors, lenders, and clients treat an incorporated entity differently than a side hustle or just a person. Entities allow your contracts to have weight. Deals made under an entity are legally stronger and easier to enforce. Third point is financial separation. Clean books are always going to equal easier funding. So banks and investors want clear, separate finances. I like to always use the point of Madam C.J. Walker. A lot of people dispute if she actually was the first millionaire. And she may not have been the first millionaire or self-made millionaire, but because she had amazing accounting and documentation of her taxes and her income and her outcome and her expenses, she was able to prove with clear, separate finances that she was indeed a self-made millionaire, the first. Entities provide tax strategies. So once you have a formal entity, you gain deductions and tax planning options that are not available as an individual. So you open tax strategy doors. We also can tell you how to be 100% tax exempt in your business, if that is something that you would like to know about. The fourth point I want to make about entities is they are generational wealth infrastructure. They allow ownership transfer. So an entity makes it simple to pass on or sell the business. No middle person. Trust integration. Entities inside trust protect wealth for their heirs and they keep assets within the family. So let's put on our luxury mindset. True wealth isn't just about what you earn, it's about what you keep and sustain. And so by creating the right entity early, you build quiet confidence. You can scale, you can sign contracts, you can take on partners and attract funding without risking your personal life or having personal liability. So now let's talk about contracts, the second power in the paperwork. Contracts are good. Why? Because handshakes feel good, verbal agreements can be nice, but verbal agreements rely on trust and memory. Business requires clarity and protection, so we don't really have time for people to be forgetting what was verbally said. So we have a contract. Contract turns your world into a weapon. It turns your word into a weapon. And it formalizes expectations. It defines deliverables. It protects your money. It protects your brand. It protects your relationships. Contracts are imperative. Uh, Not only that, they are security. A signed contract is a legally binding document. So if someone fails to deliver or pay or hold up their end of the bargain or the contract, you have the right to enforce it in court or arbitration. So no more he said, she said. It's all in the paperwork in black and white. This also saves relationships. It's going to clearly outline the deadlines, payments, exit terms. It prevents misunderstandings that ruin partnerships and friendships and co-workers and business partners. This is huge. Contracts give you professional leverage. You instantly move from someone who's just doing this on the side to a CEO when you have a contract. Clients, investors, and partners respect documented terms. Anyone that is put off by a contract is not someone that you want to work with. Contracts are a silent signal that says, I take my business seriously, and you will take it seriously too. It gives you protection against risk. So contracts are going to protect your intellectual property or your IPs. They're going to protect your trade secrets and your brand assets. It assigns liability correctly. So you don't ever want to be responsible for someone else's mistakes. Contracts are a big financial power move because they set clear payment terms. They set late fees. They set dispute resolution rules. It also makes it easier for you to receive funding or get insurance because banks and investors love documented proof of business activity. So they want to see your bank statements. That's essentially a contract. So again, let's put on our luxury crowns and look at this and say that true luxury is not just owning. We have to understand that true luxury is protecting what you own. Because you can have a Louis Vuitton bag and it's valuable because what? The brand contracts. Their brand contracts are airtight. They have licensing contracts, a supply chain contract. They have IP right contracts. Your business deserves the same caliber of legal strength as Louis Vuitton because your business is just as important, and we can get you together at Lady International Ambassador. This is our passion. This is our purpose, and this is what we have been sent forth in the earth to do. The last point, or power in the paperwork that we're going to expound on is business profiles and funding. So this is sometimes what we call the traditional trap, right? Most entrepreneurs, especially small self-funded businesses, they grow by using their personal credit cards or their savings or their home equity to finance their business. This always blurs the lines between personal and business finances. So if something goes wrong, your personal assets, your credit score, or even your home are at risk. So let's leave with this. A powerful woman protects her personal world from her business world. So we have two separate worlds here. We have public and private. We have personal and private. We have personal and business. However you want to describe those two worlds, just make sure you describe them differently. So with business credit, you're able to let your company stand on its own feet, separate from you. So it's its own entity, it's its own person, if you will. This allows you to have credibility, and it builds credibility that vendors and lenders look for, as we were saying before. This allows you to have higher funding limits, better interest rates, vendor terms without PGs or personal guarantees. And it protects you. Again, if your business faces a setback, your personal credit and assets are not liable. This also allows you to have, again, lines of credit, loans, cash flow, opening up that cash flow for you, vendor accounts, and you start to network. So these are very important power in the paperwork that I just wanted to share with you quickly and invite you to come to the roundtable session, because this is where we get into it deep. This is when we get into the details of what are talked about in this video. This is when we get into the language of commerce, if you will. This is where we get into how to negotiate, how to project your value, how to negotiate your terms, how to be in power. This is why some women are able to expand their empires and they're staying off the radar. And you're like, how are they doing this? Like, moving in silence. They know the language of commerce. They understand that the real flex isn't posting every time you win on social media. It's owning the right structure so your business can collect contracts, it can attract funding, and it can move across industries. The real value is in creating entities that separate and protect, credit profiles that open doors, and paperwork that positions you for power moves others have never even heard about or seen, because what is for you is for you. And if you could just get into the power of your paperwork, you will be surprised at how life opens up for you. And this is what we teach in our roundtable sessions. So in just one private focus session, we look at your business, where you're exposed, where you're missing leverage, what foundational steps you need to become untouchable and fundable. If you've built the brand, if you've built the offer, if you have the income, but the back end isn't as strong as it should be, you need to have your legalities together. This is your next move. So schedule your first roundtable session with us. Let's make sure your empire is not just beautiful on the outside, but that it's protected, that it's funded and built to last. This is Teshua, your favorite international commerce specialist. Text luxury to 844-386-7853 to schedule your first roundtable session. Looking forward to hearing from you.